Hi, this is Josh with Resort TV 1, and today I'm bringing back Thursday Thoughts. This is something that I did a couple years ago, I think. I'm not sure how long it's been, but basically what it was is just kind of me rambling kind of podcast style about different Disney topics that are trending right now and just things that I'm thinking about in the Disney and theme park space. Today's going to be all Disney, but there might be another episode that deals with some Universal and some other things as well. But definitely looking forward to this, and just let me know in the comments down below if this is something that you like, or if this is something that maybe is not as appealing, that I shouldn't continue, or if it's something that interests you, if it's something you would listen to maybe in the car or whatever. I'm going to be on video like I am right now, obviously you can see, but not going to be really putting any graphics up or anything for this one. I've done these before where I put graphics and video and things like that and really taken time to edit through. I'm not going to do that today because I don't have a lot of time, but I really just wanted to try it and see how it worked. So if you really like it in the future, I might do some B-roll and some graphics and things like that to spice it up a little bit. But I also want to make it accessible for anybody who just wants to enjoy it as a type of a podcast. So I may try the YouTube podcast feature when I upload this. We'll see. But either way, let's go ahead and get started with Thursday Thoughts. And before I do, I guess be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. But with that out of the way, the first thing I want to talk about is the Starcruiser. Of course, this is not new news. It happened, just a few days ago. Was it Thursday or Friday? I think that they announced that it would be closing permanently. And so definitely not a huge shock, I think, because I'd heard that they were not able to fill all the cruises and things, and the occupancy was low, and there was a lot of issues with that along the way as far as just being able to, sell enough cruises, basically. It's kind of hard to call it a cruise, but experiences, voyages, whatever you want to call it. But either way, I think, it's really telling that they did offer a lot of discounts and things like that toward the end. They really did try and save it. And, I am a little bit sad because it was such a cool concept. But at the same time, like I said, it was very expensive. We talked about this before, and I think that's what kept it from being more popular. Also, there was a lot of people who said that if they tried it once, they really didn't need to do it again, and there were others who did it multiple times and enjoyed it every single time as well. So I guess first of all, why did it fail? I've talked about that a little bit already with the money situation, but also I think that people didn't really understand it completely, or what it was, or if it really was worth the thousands of dollars it would have cost to bring a family there. And also maybe a lack of people that were interested enough to spend that much money. So you have to find people that are interested and have the money to spend on that, and I think that's still a pretty small group of people. So while I love the idea, I think your target market there is pretty small on that, and I was outside that market. I can't afford to drop $5,000 or $6,000 on a cruise like that, and certainly won't be able to in the foreseeable future. So but I also wasn't mad that they did it, just because it's not something that was accessible to me. Of course, I was super luckier than a lot of people in the population. Jen and I got to go and see it for ourselves and be in there for 4 hours and experience it for free, which was super, super amazing. We're very thankful for that. But even if I hadn't gotten to do that, I would have seen videos and pictures and thought that it was a really cool experience, and been really glad that that they offered it for those who were able to do that. So, but I do think your target market is small. I think that's probably the biggest issue, and just the re-experience or re-ridership, if you will, even though it's not a ride, would be would be kind of low on that, I think, or at least not enough to keep the cruises full. So what are they going to do with it? So I think one of the things that's been floated around a lot, and kind of an obvious thing, is it's this big building full of hotel rooms. So obviously, even though there's not a lot of rooms, I think somebody said like around 100, obviously they could very easily turn it into a resort hotel, like a boutique hotel. They could still charge a decent amount for it, but be a lot cheaper than the full Starcruiser experience, and make it more like a deluxe resort that people could stay in, because it is, let's be honest, it is furnished like a deluxe resort. And then they could make the extra experiences and things maybe an extra charge or something like that to pay for the staff that it would take to make those operate. And they wouldn't have to do the large scale shows and things like that. They could still have maybe like some of the trainings, like I said, the lightsaber training, bridge training, things like that that you could do, but maybe some of the experiences would be less than what they were on the regular Starcruiser. So I think that would be something that would work pretty well. And also, I think that another thing they might do is create more resort rooms and maybe take some of the experience areas and bring those and make those into more resort rooms. I kind of hope they don't do that, but I could see them doing it just to say, okay, we've got more rooms, so hopefully we can add, more guests in there and make the resort more profitable. I do, though, hope that they don't just tear the building down. I think it'll be good if they don't. However, I did see something today about them using it as a $300 million tax write-off because it was considered a loss. If that's the case, they may have to wait a little bit to do something with it so that it can be a tax write-off. And I understand as a business doing something like that. Obviously it's definitely one of those, I don't want to say it's a loophole, it's something legal that you can do when you've had a loss in your business. So that is something that I could see where they wouldn't be able to do something with it just because of the write-off situation. So leave me a comment if you know more about taxes than I do. What's the rule on that, and how long would they have to wait before using it again? Or if they do I think depreciation or whatever they call, if they do it as a loss or as a total loss or as a write-off, how long do they have to wait before they use it, or do they have to bulldoze it in order to get that tax write-off? So I hope that's not the case. I think it would be cool used in other ways. So, I think also another reason why people didn't like it was, I think there was some jealousy involved. Like I said, certainly I felt some of that as well. I wish I could go and stay, the 2 night and have the full experience, especially after having a taste of it. And again, I got more than most people did, so I'm not complaining at all, but I was jealous of those that got to go for the full experience, but it didn't make me mad that it was there, like I said. But that's, I think, why a lot of people didn't like it, was just that jealousy aspect of, I can never do this, I can never afford this, so why are they doing it? Disney needs to be more accessible. Those are all valid points. But I also think, if Disney wants to do next level cutting edge stuff, it's expensive, and, it's really cool to be able to offer that type of stuff. The other thing is, a lot of people have talked a lot about the cast members and how amazing they were, through the whole process of performing or, playing their roles on the Starcruiser. And I think that is something that is not emphasized enough. We were only in there for 4 hours, and those crew members made the show. I mean, I was, was in there with Scott Trowbridge and one of the, chief Imagineers and things like that. And it was amazing to just be able to, to experience that with some of the Imagineers and see them, playing and enjoying and things like that. But the cast members and the crew were really incredible, and even you could tell they were even pulling the Imagineers into the story. Of course, the Imagineers had a willingness to play along because it was their creation, and they, were very proud of it, as they should have been. But the cast members did a great job pulling you into the story. And I did see a post on a Facebook group about why this person loved the Starcruiser, and listed some of the cast members by name with a shout out for all the things that this person had learned from the cast members and all the things they'd experienced and all the memories they've made. So I think in that way it was a one of a kind experience. You talk about cruise ships where you have the same wait staff, for the whole voyage, and you get to know them and all that kind of stuff. And then you give them the tip at the end to show the appreciation and all that. On the Starcruiser, I'm sure there are ways to leave tips, but, you can't tip every cast member that does an amazing job. And so, it's kind of they do an amazing performance, and it's a little bit of a thankless job. So I do hope that, that they find some great opportunities somewhere else. And I am sad for the cast members that don't get to continue with that experience. I think that that's something that is being overlooked a little bit in the, the talk about all the money and all that stuff that kind of becomes the center of discussion when talking about something like this. So I think we need to remember the cast members and how amazing they were in the whole experience. And if you don't, know what I'm talking about with that, or if you haven't watched any videos of it, definitely go back and watch our video and our media preview video of the Starcruiser. It was really, really fun to see those cast members. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Starcruiser. And again, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. You might agree or disagree. Some people actually, bringing up a counterpoint to something that was brought up on the stream the other day, some people actually said that they appreciated Disney was doing more cutting edge things, but they also would have rather that money been spent on something that would benefit more guests. I can't argue with that. I think that's a great point, and certainly it's something to think about for sure. I just thought this was a cool experience, but it, like this person said, it didn't benefit a lot of people, and so therefore I can see why perhaps it is something that they would have rather, and a lot of people would rather them spent the money on something else. All right, next up for discussion is Park Reservations. This has been a sticking point or a sore point for a lot of people ever since COVID, and they started, of course, with COVID being going on, and the parks opening, the 4 month closure at Disney World finally being over. Was it 4 months? Somewhere around there. Anyway, it was a long time that the parks were closed. Finally being over, and people were just glad to go back. So I think people didn't complain that much about the reservations. So it was like, okay, whatever, just let us go back. It's kind of like it was an accepted part of the experience because you just wanted to go, and you understood why they were trying to limit capacity to be safe, with the health concerns and all that kind of thing. So it was totally accepted at that point. But of course, as time has worn on, Disney sees the benefit of it, where they can control staffing, they can control crowds on crazy holidays and things like that. It certainly helped on New Year's Eve. They did let a great number of people in. It wasn't slow by any stretch of the imagination, but it also wasn't unsafe. And I've been there on New Year's Eve a few times where it was difficult to walk through the park. So I really do think that they did a good job there by limiting that a little bit, where you're not just wall to wall people on the sidewalks and on the promenades there. So I think that was a good thing. But as we move along, they're starting to loosen this up a little bit. And the biggest change recently, of course, a few weeks ago, was pass holders were able to visit the parks after 2 p.m. Without a reservation, except for Magic Kingdom on Saturdays and Sundays. And I totally get that. Magic Kingdom's the busiest park on weekends, so I totally get them wanting people to make a reservation for that. But you can still park hop into it if you make a reservation for another park, even if you can't get Magic Kingdom. So it's kind of a moot point at certain points, but it's just one of those things they're still doing to control the crowd. I really do appreciate that they're trying to listen to guest feedback and loosening this up a little bit. I think it's a good thing. I remember the first night I went to Epcot with no reservations and just went in and was super excited to. I even told the cast member at the gate, I was like, "Yay, first time no reservations," and she was like, "I know, I can't wait," kind of thing. So couldn't wait to try it with her ID. And I think that from what I understand, cast members can do that as well after 2 p.m. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Either that, or maybe she was just excited on behalf of guests and her friends that had passes. I'm not sure, but she was excited for sure as well. And the other change coming up next year is that people that have purchased dated tickets will not have to have a reservation. Well, this makes sense, because if you buy your ticket for July 21st through 25th, well, why should you have to make a reservation for that time when you already bought your ticket for a certain date? That to me never made sense, because it basically was just not putting two systems together, right? It was making the guest do an extra step because they didn't connect the ticketing system to the reservation system. So it looks like that has been fixed, which is a good thing. So yeah, I think eventually we'll get to a point where there are days, it sounds like there also are going to be good to go days, which means that maybe there'll be days, especially weekdays or slower times, where even pass holders don't have to have a reservation, or cast members don't have to have a reservation to go even in the morning. So that'll be really nice once they get to that point. Having said that, I do think one of the things a lot of people aren't talking about right now with this is that it is easier to get a reservation right now because people that are going after 2 p.m., which is a lot of locals, are not having to make reservations. So they're just not worrying about it. And so if you're going in the morning, you have a lot more access to reservations, whereas before, it didn't matter what time you were going, you still had to have a reservation to get into the park at some point. Even if you were going at 6 p.m. or you were going at rope drop, it didn't matter. You still had to have a reservation to get in the park, and that certainly made a lot of them go away, especially around the holidays, pretty quickly. Now, even as we get into the holidays, and July 4th and summer and back into Christmas, which seems forever away. But once that happens, I think what you're going to see is, if they keep the rules the same, the passes won't be taken up quite as quickly, because people are not having to make reservations for the evenings anymore. And the morning people can make the reservations, and in the afternoon people can just show up. And so that's pretty nice. So I think that's a really good benefit that a lot of people haven't really talked about or thought about maybe as much as just making those passes more available. And the next thing I want to talk about is the dining plan returning. This is another great thing, another thing where Disney's listening to guest feedback, and I think it's really appreciated by a lot of guests. Just, that Disney does seem to be listening after a period where it didn't really seem like they were listening as much. So I'm really glad to see those are back. That doesn't directly affect me, but because I don't stay in the resorts that much, but I can see that it's a big money saver and a big help for a lot of families traveling on a budget, and you can budget that food out ahead of time and also save some money in the process as well. So I think it's a great thing. I'm glad to see it back. It's not. I just like it that they give people options. It's not like you have to use it. If you're like, oh, I don't like the dining plan, it doesn't save our family money. Great, then you don't have to use it. You can buy your food a la carte, like everybody else, and that's fine. But it does give you that option if you want to use it, and I think more options are more better. to borrow an incorrect way of saying things, but definitely more options, more better, I think. So yeah. Anyway, my mom, the English teacher, mom would not like that, but it's all good. And the next thing I want to talk about is the barges are gone at Epcot. I saw that last night on a live stream. I'm filming this Wednesday night to upload Thursday morning. And so last night, Tuesday night, we had a live stream there, our Tranquil Tuesday at Epcot, and saw that the barges were gone. And every time I looked over there, it just made me really happy. So I didn't realize how much the barges really bothered me until they were gone. I guess I did realize it, but I think even more so realize how much I appreciate the beauty of World Showcase. So again, another thing where Disney was listening to guest feedback. Now, on the same token, I don't want them to go overboard on that, because I've heard that Harmonious Live may be being removed from Disney Plus. I don't think that's a good thing, because Harmonious Live, having it on Disney Plus is a great way to remember a great show. If they'd done something similar for Illuminations, I think people would love to have it as a treasured keepsake and a reason to keep your Disney Plus subscription, so that you always have access to that beloved show on Disney Plus. So, yes, they can put a big description in there and say this was a past fireworks show. It's not offered anymore, but we do want everybody to, be able to still see and enjoy the history of this amazing piece of art. And I think that Harmonious was a piece of art. I think it was artistic. A lot of people are just dead set against it because there's IP at Epcot, or intellectual property, characters and things. I don't think that's always a bad thing. Yes, I'm a huge retro Epcot fan. I mean, I've got an Epcot shirt on right now, and it's a copy of one of the opening day shirts, and things like that. So I am a huge retro Epcot fan. I mean, you can see behind me retro Epcot all over the place. So I don't think it's a bad thing that they are, that they are trying to, get IP into the shows. But I also think they can put some original music in there as well. I'd like to see a mix of both. Having said that, I love Epcot Forever because it's all classic Epcot themes that are original content from the parks. And I would like to see them create some original content for the parks and spin that off into some shows. I understand why they don't usually do it that way, because your audience is going to be bigger at the movies and Disney Plus and some of those areas. Any kind of consumable media is going to be a bigger audience than the people that can afford to and have time to and desire to go to the parks. So I get that, but at the same time, with all of the social media that's out there, if they do create something, an original character for the parks, and put it into a fireworks show, a ride, and everything else, then they can start putting a Disney Plus series together based on that character, or a movie together based on that character, and kind of make it very similar, to a little bit of what they did for Pirates of the Caribbean. I guess Pirates of the Caribbean is a little bit different because it's like a ride based, or it's a movie based on a ride. And the character kind of came as part of the movie, but still it's something that was in the park first, and it was translated or transitioned, or whatever you want to call it, transposed, transcribed, I don't know, something transformed into a movie. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that, as opposed to only the one direction of going from Disney Plus, from movies to the parks. I'd like to see it go both ways. So I think that's my thoughts on fireworks shows. The next show, whatever it is, obviously they've learned their lesson of not clogging up the lagoon as much, hopefully. But I do think that the next show will be really good. I'm sure it'll have IP in it. I just hope people will be open-minded about these shows. If you honestly, genuinely didn't like, Harmonious, I think that's totally fine and understandable. Everybody, like I said the other night, it's different strokes for different folks. But I hope people gave it a chance, because it really was a great show. And if you watch Harmonious Live, you can really see it for what it is, and what it was, I should say. Somebody on the live stream was saying the other night, I think that that Harmonious would have been more well received if Harmonious Live had been, the first introduction of it to audiences. I think that Harmonious Live was a better introduction than what they did. Of course, that would have been a huge undertaking to do on opening night, but I think that would have been probably a better introduction. And people, when they saw Harmonious Live, they said, okay, now I get it, even if they'd never seen the show live and in person. So anyway, those are my thoughts on fireworks and the barges are gone. All right. And one of the last things I want to talk about is a big one, the Disney community. Everybody talks about the Disney community in one way, shape, or form, and it's a big community with a lot of very diverse backgrounds and ideas and thought processes and things like that. And it's very difficult a lot of times on the live streams to navigate, staying away from politics, staying away from controversial issues, staying away from all these types of things, while still, being able to talk about, what we love and what we love and what we don't love about the parks and about things that we see around Disney World, and so on and so forth. Universal doesn't really have that kind of I don't want to say like a cult following as Disney does. A lot of people love Universal, but they don't really get mad at Universal when they do things. I think Disney has that unique kind of place in people's hearts where they feel betrayed if something changes or something's not done correctly, and especially the love for Walt and everything else like that. Universal doesn't really have a central figure that is beloved or universally beloved. See what I did there? Sorry. As much as Walt was and such an iconic historical figure, not just in the Disney realm, but in the international realm. Everybody, most people would have heard of Walt Disney. So I think that's probably why the communities are so different. But having said that, talking about the community, the social media community, and also just the community of fans. It's kind of a very spread out and diverse community, like I said, but and it is a really great place to be with a few minor issues, I think, and just a few things that I can highlight now and things hopefully we can do better as a community, and I'll include myself in that. First of all, I definitely include myself in this one. Let's talk about the community of creators a little bit. Those of us who make content about Disney, whether you have 100 subscribers or 100,000 or even a million, like our friend JoJo, it doesn't matter, how many you have. I think this applies to everybody. And I just started saying this already, but stop worrying about numbers and make quality content. I think it's really important because we got wrapped up with the numbers because we grew so fast and it was exciting. It was a rush. It was like something that was just really, really exciting to be on the bandwagon. I was like kind of winning at something, and so that was very, very exciting. And I'm not gonna lie, it was very fun to see the growth and everything and to see your hard work pay off. Because we did work on it for or at least we worked on it separately. Jenna had the ideas, and even before she came on, I'd worked on the channel for years, and not really gotten too far with it until the live streaming came along. So, so I think even though the numbers are exciting, we've got to stop worrying about that so much. Make great content. That's one of the things I saw. Mr. Beast, obviously very well known, most subscribed YouTuber at this point. One of the things he's talked about is, if you make great content, the rest will take care of itself. It's not quite that simple, but I do think that's a huge part of it. People will find you eventually if you make great content. And the numbers will happen. And of course, part of making great content is having good titles, good thumbnails, and all those things. If you're talking about YouTube or if you're talking about TikTok or Instagram, it's having that hook that catches people on. So anyway, there's that. Also, I talked about this last night on the live stream, but I think it's important, especially in the Disney creator community, that we stop thinking about competition. And I think most creators have this down pretty well. But I think there are people in the community, sometimes in the chat, that say, so-and-so has more people, or so-and-so's stream worked better than yours, or, that kind of thing. Every once in a while I'll see that, and I'm like, that's just not it. It's not it. Like, so somebody's live stream of fireworks might work better than somebody else's one night, or somebody's ride video might work better. Somebody else might have a better ride on Haunted Mansion or a better ride on Space Mountain. Somebody else. That's great. I cheer those people on. It's like, that's awesome. Good for you. And, also if you want to share how you did it, that's great too. And some people don't, and that's totally fine. But I think it's important for everybody in the community, people in the chats and people in the creator side of the community, to remember that there's not a competition. And if we treat it like a competition, everybody's going to lose. And I think that's the most important thing. So, it's not worry about somebody's going live when somebody else is going live or all that kind of thing. We've been through those a couple times, and it's like, it's just not worth really thinking or worrying about it. People are going to watch no matter what. And the people that love your channel, the people that love our channel, the people that love anybody's channel, are going to watch when they're live. The super fans and the dedicated community, and even the casual fans, whatever you want to call yourself, if whether you'd say you're a super fan, a casual fan, or or somebody that's just kind of like in the middle somewhere. They're going to watch when they have time to watch. And so people going live at the same time is totally fine. And I think that it is something that's even encouraged, because what happens is it's that whole rising, the rising tide lifts all boats. So what if somebody has a huge night and gets a ton of viewers? Well, now all of a sudden, those people that maybe never saw a Disney live stream before are now interested in Disney live streams. And when that person's not live, they're going to look for other live streams to watch. And so, it's a rising tide effect for everybody. And I think it's a great thing. And so we have to stop thinking in terms of competition. There's going to be nights where everybody's live at the same time, and probably everybody's numbers will be a little lower. That's okay. People will watch the replay and still have a great time and enjoy the night and enjoy being at Disney. I think it's really, really important to do that. And the other thing is, too, if you're in the community, be really, really careful whether you're a viewer or whether you're a creator. Try not to get offended by minor things that happen, whether somebody, doesn't say hi to you in the chat, or whether somebody doesn't, a creator doesn't see your chat post. Maybe, one of us streamers misses your chat, and maybe you posted 10 times and we missed it every single time. And I'll go through and watch the live chat replay and be like, wow, that person was here and I never said hi to them. And I feel really bad about that. I hope that, I know Jenna does as well, and a lot of other streamers do as well. But we're human, we're not perfect, and it might just be bad luck that just so happened every time that person posted a comment, we were looking away, and it was just bad luck at that point. And so but it's never intentional, and it just, we hope that people will not be offended by that. But also, just even if it's like, you didn't like something somebody did or something somebody said, or you thought, oh, somebody shouldn't have done this or somebody shouldn't have done that, or somebody, this is kind of that. It's like the whole. I don't want to say high school drama, but that's kind of the first thing that came to mind is, that stuff I think it hasn't been, too bad lately, but I think it's really important to stay away from that as community, not just as creators, but also in the chat as well. So I think that's really important to think about and talk about, because in the end, somebody might rub you the wrong way. Somebody might say something the wrong way. Somebody might, you might feel like, oh, somebody took an idea that you had, or somebody's, thumbnail looked the same, or somebody's title for a video was the same, or I just did that, or we're doing, we're both doing this kind of a stream at the same time, or, whatever. A lot of those things are coincidental. We've had that happen where you looked up and it's like, oh, somebody else is doing the same type of stream we're doing today. Oh, well, that's okay. Great minds think alike. And I've even texted some of the people like, hey, we're doing the same thing. Great minds think alike. That's cool. So I think we have to have more of that mindset. And like I said, I'll be honest, I've been guilty of being offended by something somebody said or did, because I'm human just like everybody else. But we have to try and remember we're very lucky to do what we do. We get to go to Disney World all the time and make content about the place that we love. And so we have to remember there's a lot of people that would love to go to Disney even once in 5 years. We get to go multiple times a week. And so, if somebody's making you upset about this or that or the other thing, let's think about the big picture of it and remember that we're all very, very lucky. We're very, very blessed to be able to do this. And I say that to myself as well, because somebody might be watching and say, well, Josh, you get annoyed at stuff too. Absolutely, I do. And I need to work on, and I'm trying to work on, especially after my hospital stay, trying to work on toning down my, my perfectionism a little bit, and toning down my stress level, and toning down my intensity level a little bit as well. So the bottom line is, I hope that everybody can think about how lucky we are to do what we're doing, and embrace each other, support each other, lift each other up. And remember, let's assume positive intentions, right? So if you see somebody did or said something, let's assume that they had good intentions and that they weren't trying to do something mean or rude or whatever else, So I think we should always assume positive intentions. It's something we talk about at school a lot. Let's assume another teacher or another staff member or another student had positive intentions when they did something. And if they didn't, that's okay. That's on them, right? But I think it's important to just go around, believing the best in people. And obviously sometimes that gets you hurt. And I think that's okay, because it's worth it to see the good in people. You're going to be happier in the long run. So anyway, I didn't mean for this to get so philosophical, but there you go. There we are. And I'm not cutting it out, because I think it's important that we all talk about it and think about those things. So, all right. So, otherwise, I think that's basically about it. Oh, the other part of that I had on here, I had some notes just to make sure I didn't forget anything. If there are issues in the community, whether it be in the chat with viewers among the chat, or whether it be with, creators or whatever it is, if there's an issue with anybody, communicate. Tell that person, talk to that person, like, hey, I saw this and it kind of bothered me. I know you probably didn't mean it, but it's something that it did, hit me the wrong way. I just want to let you know, I really like what you're doing, or whatever. I know that's a hard conversation to have. I get it. But it's way better than going around and, not liking somebody and kind of stewing and being angry when you see the person in the parks or in the chats or whatever else. It's just not worth it. Life is too short. So it's important to apologize if you feel like you've wronged somebody, or to take the time to communicate if somebody is bothering you about something or whatever else. So anyway, that's just something I think is good in life. It doesn't just apply to the streams, but I think that'll help the community as a whole, a lot. And, it's nothing specific that I'm referencing right now. It's just some things that have been on my mind and in my heart for a long time. And I thought, you know what, in this first Thursday Thoughts, I'll bring this up and see what everybody thinks. But you can agree or you can disagree, and that's the beauty of it. Just like we talked about the fireworks, you can love Harmonious, you can hate it. You can love Enchantment, you can hate it. Some people don't even like Happily Ever After. It's a very small minority, but there are people that don't like it. And that's okay. So again, different strokes, right? Everybody's different. I'm in the minority that I wasn't a huge fan at the end of Illuminations, or I was ready for a change. And even though I did like the show, so everybody's different. So anyway, thank you for indulging me for about a half an hour here as I just kind of rambled on about some things with Disney and in the community and things like that. I really do love this community, and I want it to continue to grow and to flourish and to thrive on every social media platform, bringing people that can't come to the parks here on a daily basis. And I think that's really important. Anytime we talk to people and they talk about how we helped get them through the pandemic, or how, we help somebody come to the parks that couldn't come anymore because of an illness, or because of being, homebound, or because of finances, or whatever reason, and how much that meant to those people to be in the parks, even though they couldn't physically be there, to be there on the stream and to say, hey, can we go ride this? And when we go ride it. Or even like I was talking to Serrano, I know he won't mind me saying this because he had said in the chat, Serrano PE is one of our people in our chat, and he was talking about one of his favorite, one of his favorite memories at Epcot was when he asked me on a live stream to go find his son, and who's working at a food booth there. I believe it was Food and Wine Festival. And can you go find him? He's working at this booth. And I thought it was a long shot, but I went and found him. And he said, his wife was just so overjoyed to see him. And he was so overjoyed. They hadn't seen him in 3 months. And they saw him on the live stream, and that was their favorite memory. And it was so magical just for a few seconds to say hi to him and to see him in his element doing what he does. And I can't imagine that, with Liam, if I hadn't seen him for 3 months, and the same thing. So I can totally understand. And that's the magic of what we do in this community, is that we're able to bring people together no matter what. It's kind of like that old Spaceship Earth thing, the AT&T, bringing people together anytime, anywhere. If anybody remembers the old ending to Spaceship Earth, that's what this is all about. And so we all, myself included, need to remember that. And this is going to be an amazing, amazing time. And as we go into summer, I'm excited for the things that we're going to be able to do, some new content to create, and all kinds of things coming up. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So I hope you'll join us for the journey, because we can't wait. So with that being said, please be sure to check out all of our awesome sponsors, Mickey Blog and MickeyTravels.com, for the best and free Disney vacation planning advice. Go check them out to book your next trip. Also, please be sure to check out our newest sponsor, Resort TV One Homes. That's ResortTV1Homes.com. Go fill out your contact information. It's brokered by eXp Realty, and they're going to help you find your dream home here in Central Florida. ResortTV1Homes.com and Resort TV One Homes on YouTube. We also have David's DVC Rentals, dvcrequest.com/TV if you want to rent a DVC room for a fraction of the cost. Go check out David's DVC Rentals to book your next DVC stay. So, all right, everybody, that's all for now. We'll see you next time. Let me know if you like these Thursday Thoughts videos, and we'll keep doing them if you like them. So for now, have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Bye-bye. Now that you've finished watching this video, be sure that you're subscribed so that you can get all of the latest updates. Also, check out some other great videos on our channel. Have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. Bye-bye.